India's supply chain ecosystem is transforming faster than ever. From logistics tech and warehousing to cold chain, freight, and last mile delivery, a new generation of startups are solving real problems and building smarter networks. Logistics Insider brings to you the stories of India's most promising supply chain startups. Ideas turning into real impact. Welcome to the Startup Spotlight series by Logistics Insider. Today, we are featuring Lynkit.
So today Lynkit's serving more than 1,200 customers, and what we're super proud about is that they're all from different industries. So we started off with logistics and e-com. You already know that we got delivery, we got Blue Dart, then soon we started working with e-commerce customers. So today we work with Flipkart, we work with Big Basket. Then we started working with a lot of companies from the manufacturing side as well. We work with shippers today like Samsung, Haier, Dixon. We also now start working with ports and terminals as well as ICDs and warehouses. So Lynkit is now sort of covering a very large footprint, and not just in India but outside as well. So we have customers now in over 7 countries, but of course our main revenue is still coming in from India. So the 1,200 customers that we have today are handling more than about 10 million trips as of last month is what we saw. And now this data is coming in from multiple devices. We're a very technology agnostic company, so we never really focused in on one tech. We focused on just solving the problem.
So when we make a product for the logistics industry, and that's what we do at Lynkit, it's about trying to make a very dynamic product that can really, that it's not built in a lab, but it's actually built by talking to our customers, understanding what the logistics industry is like, and really building a product that is works in a very dynamic and problem-driven market.
So we have about 50,000 network connected devices. We have more than 1,000 ANPR cameras, and we also have about 10 million RFID tags and about another 1,000 RFID readers as well. The RFID market is something that we're still seeing expand, but now what's getting super interesting is vision technology. So ANPR cameras and OCR technology is what we're looking at expanding our footprint into this year.
Okay, so we started with the small team, and we were having very less people on our team, and we were doing all the, we are focusing on solving the small problems, and our team we are doing all the activity, and all the founders were involved for solving daily problems. And we done even we do the boxing of our RFID chipset and our readers. If I say in the country wise, we have multiple continent we are addressing. It's from Singapore, from Middle East to Germany. We have different customers in different continents. We are ingesting so much of data. We are creating a lot of analytics, a lot of prediction based on those data, and that way our prediction analytics are more accurate as compared to earlier.
So I think that one use case that really sticks out in our company today is Big Basket. Big Basket, you all know, is sort of like a growing company. It's evolved also from like a full startup to now Tata owned as well. They have a huge market share now on the quick commerce side, and quick commerce is of course something that's been growing. What's really stuck out for Big Basket is that what Lynkit also set out to do, as the name suggests, is to sort of link the supply chains, right? Become this multi-product company. And with Big Basket, what we got to do was exactly that. Big Basket was a company, and it was a team that also understood what value Lynkit could add. So though we started off with a very simple use case of just helping them track their trucks, eventually we got the transportation management system contract as well. We got to automate their billing. We did this really interesting concept of also automating the entire billing process, using the IoT and GPS feeds to actually minimize the time it takes to generate a bill. We onboarded the transporters, the shippers, and it became this entire ecosystem. And as time has gone by, I think the relationship with Big Basket now has been, a little bit over 2 years now. And now they've started using our optimization logic as well. So we're doing their last mile delivery, we're doing their mid mile. We've also now gotten into their first mile. So I think it's the first company that we got to work with that ended up using everything that Lynkit had, and they really understood the concept of working with that one company that actually understands your entire leg. Because now when they sort of, start a new product or a use case with us, they end up dealing with the team that already has been working with them for 2 years. So we already know how they work. We've already integrated. So it just becomes a much easier startup process for them as well. So the idea of Lynkit basically started off in college. I had done an internship with DHL and Blue Dart. And the initial idea was actually doing a marketplace. And I roamed around the streets of Gol Market and Sanjay Gandhi Transport Nagar and sort of saw what the backbone of Indian logistics was. And the marketplace idea didn't really seem right for the Indian market because we felt that it didn't make sense to make people fit into our marketplace. We actually had to create something that fit into their business problem. And so we dropped the idea of the marketplace and we said, let's just focus on the core technology, focus on solving the biggest problems that the Indian logistics industry has, and then take things from there. Initially, we sort of didn't really know where to start as self, except I was from college, right? So I had just done one small internship. I met Manas along the way, and Manas had joined me as a freelancer. And Manas had sort of exited from his initial startup. And we ended up getting along and we said, okay, let's just try solving this problem as it comes. So the initial idea was that we just said, okay, we'll just solve the simplest problem, which is letting transporters and shippers know where their truck is. The main issue that we saw was most transporters had GPSs on their vehicles, but shippers whose goods were actually being transported didn't know where the truck was. That's how it sort of started. And then we kept solving one customer problem after another. And eventually it sort of evolved more from like a services to a product. Initially, it was every customer had their own problem. So we were just building one after the other. And then it became more about combining this into one single product. So the first one was delivery. And it was, I still remember we were in the previous office, which was also Nokla, but in a different phase. And Sadhak and I were coming back home. And my other co-founder, I'm very lucky that she's my sister. So we were heading back home. And we were on the flyover that crosses GK, and that's when we got that email saying that we've gotten the delivery purchase order. We had zero experience, none. I mean, I remember that the PO value was more than the turnover that we had. And I remember that when we were doing the first negotiation, it was just, they took us through a list of 10 questions for previous experience and all of the answers were no. So we were like, there's no way we're getting this. But I think that was the beauty of working with a startup like Delivery, is that not just the founders, but the entire team understood that startups can deliver, because Delivery was a startup as well at one point of time. So when they were sort of asking us all these questions, I think they also had in the back of their mind that, okay, these guys don't have the experience right now, but if we give them a chance, they might be able to deliver. So we were put through a really grueling test. They put 3 companies together, and there were 2 other companies that we were competing with. And they sort of said, okay, we're going to do like a sort of face-off battle. And it was a 1-month POC. And I just remember the entire team was so invested that we were all just looking at our screens and our phones and monitoring every trip that was happening. And so I think even though we've gotten bigger customers or larger deals, Delivery sort of has that special place in our heart. And that PO probably is always going to be the most important one we ever got.
Initially, we started with software. Then we thought that the problems we are getting from our customer that needs something more than software. So our in-house hardware team, where we not outsource anything, we have decided to make inbuilt hardware where we have firmware team, PCB team. And then now we have 170 people in our team, where we are resolving all problems with the different customers. So now our software is more look like as a logistic operating system, where we have hardware, software, and the operator, as well as now we have AI, which is kind of helping us not only do the operation but do the prediction.
So logistics is intrinsically a type of industry which always has problems. You can make a plan, it rains, and all your plans have to be changed again. I think in terms of the product that we are building, we're very close in terms of what we think we wanted to have as a stack, which looked at warehousing, it looked at goods in transit, it looked at automation at a factory level, at a warehouse level, at a yard level. So our expansion plans are, of course, focused in India. We want to expand to different industries or customers that we haven't been able to tap yet. And we also want to continue our expansion abroad. So this year we got recognized by Forbes The Gems as well as a company that has a product with good international potential. We of course work with customers already in multiple countries, including Germany, Singapore, UAE, but we're of course looking at further expanding our global footprint this year. So Asia in general is always, a continent that we look at expanding further. We're working with a couple of countries already in Southeast Asia. The Middle East and, the Gulf is again something culturally we relate with a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense for us to grow there, and we've already started working with a few countries in the Gulf. And then, sort of as opportunities come our way, we work with a lot of customers who have a global footprint themselves. So being their partner in India just gives them, this confidence in our ability to be able to provide them even for their international supply chain problems.